Triston Casas is determined to improve against left-handed pitching, and he showed glimpses of being able to do that on Wednesday.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast, and I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed for free. And honestly, who doesn't love free? So might as well start your day off the right way by checking out Locked On Red Sox, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the show. We are 14 days until opening day. It's so close now. I can feel it. The Red Sox do start the season on the West Coast, so get ready for those 10 p.m. games, my friends. I mean, they're coming, and they are right around the corner as we think about and look at the Red Sox schedule this year, and hopefully they can start off strong. I mean, starting the season on the West Coast is definitely tough, but on the same token, at least the Red Sox are getting a West Coast trip over with early in the season, so we don't have to worry about it later on, because honestly, it's better to just get it over with, because those times are brutal, starting the game at 10 o'clock, them ending at 1, sometimes even closer to 2 if it's a slower game. So it really is the type of situation where you can look at it and say, okay, well, at least they're getting one of these trips over with. And one guy that we hope will make that trip at least a little bit exciting and the season exciting is Triston Casas. Now, he was in the running for American League Rookie of the Year for a while last year and showed a lot of potential. He had Justin Turner as his mentor when playing first base, which I think helped him out a lot, and he was able to showcase a lot of his skills at first base with the mentor being somebody who's just a veteran who's been around the league for so long and has the experience to be able to lead and play his position well. So Casas truly did learn from the best, and I'm expecting another big season from him in 2024. I think it'll only get better for him from here. He's ready to go, ready to work hard, and ready to be that player that the Red Sox need him to be. And one of the goals that he had set out going into this season was improving against left-handed pitching. And last year, he didn't really get a lot of opportunity to do that. He only took 79 at-bats against lefties in 2023, in large part because for most of the year, the Sox just turned to Justin Turner to fill in at first base and take those at-bats against lefties. So now that Justin Turner is gone and Casas is a little bit more established at the major league level, it's assumed now that he'll be seeing some more playing time against lefties this season, and he's been determined to show improvement in that regard because he's going to have to be more versatile now in the at-bats that he's taking. And it was evident that he's starting to show improvement against lefties in the 4th inning of Wednesday's game when he drove a fastball from New York Yankees starter Carlos Rodon and absolutely mashed it to right center. It was just a mammoth of a home run, 421 feet. So he crushed it. Definitely did not take Rodon easy there. And he looked confident doing it, looked confident in his swing, and was able to easily clear a seating area at the Yankees spring training facility, landing on the 2nd level. He was happy after it. He just got challenged by Rodon with that straight fastball and just crushed it. He is finding a way to make it work. He knows that Rodon is a tough at bat, so he essentially was trying to stay short and hit a high line drive. So maybe that's what his thought process is going to be going forward, that he has that mentality of trying to just focus on making big contact with the ball. He does have a lot of power as it is, but hopefully his improvement against lefties can only be fueled from here, because he hit a home run against one of the toughest lefties in the game. Last year, he slashed a stat line of a 215 batting average, 361 on base percentage, and 456 slugging against lefties, and was able to hold his own, but didn't have the most effective at bats against left-handed pitchers. And Justin Turner was there to kind of manage a lot of those at bats at first base for him. So it took pressure off of him of feeling like that's his weak point and he has to deliver. So now that the Red Sox are in a situation where they really want him to learn more and get more at bats against lefties, hopefully he can continue to gain some of that momentum that he needs. And when he took that at bat against Rhon and he crushed that home run, he didn't look uncomfortable. He didn't look nervous. He just looked like he was trying to focus on the at bat and figure out what was going to work for him and what wasn't. And he seemed to read Rhon really well. And sure enough, it paid off for him. So he wants to try to take more aggressive swings against lefties next year and be able to be more effective from a power standpoint. He hit 20 home runs against righties last year compared to only 4 against left-handed pitchers. So he wants to translate his power over from hitting against righties to hitting against lefties. And he is feeling like he can crack the code this upcoming season, which would be huge for Boston because the Red Sox really do need him to step up and perform. He is hoping to eventually get an extension with the Red Sox. He would prefer, obviously, for that to be sooner rather than later. And I'm sure he's looking at the extension that Brian Bayo just got and saying that could be me. And it absolutely could be him. This is a big season upcoming for him, following a rookie year in which he just went off, especially during the second half of the season, and was one of the biggest contributors in the Red Sox offense. To now be able to go into this next year with more experience under his plate and hopefully a more versatile skill set in what he can do on the field to make him more of a threat, will give the Red Sox a good taste in their mouth of, we should extend this guy because he's going to be a contributor for our team for a long time. Casas is definitely a competitor. He always wants to get better, and I foresee him having that same mentality going into this upcoming season. And from a confidence and leadership standpoint, there's a lot of opportunity from him here with Turner being gone and him being the primary first baseman and pretty much owning that position. He can create an identity for himself this year that really sets the tone for what the Red Sox infield is going to be and establishes himself as a competitor moving forward and one of the key contributors in the Red Sox offense. So it's encouraging that he seems to be starting to get his swing down against lefties a little bit more. I felt like the Red Sox shied away from it a little bit too much last year, giving him those opportunities. And I really felt like towards the end of the season, when the Red Sox were out of the running for playoff contention, they should have given him some more reps against lefties at that point, because what do they really have to lose? They weren't competing for a wild card spot at that point in the season anyway. So why not give him the reps at that point, knowing that it could be a good learning experience for him and he could get the opportunity to hit better against lefties prior to this upcoming season. And so going into the spring, he set that as one of his main goals. He certainly is making it work. He said that when he was hitting against Rhon, he felt like he was working more direct to the ball and his hands were in a really good spot. So he's hoping to maintain that same technique when he approaches the plate against lefties moving forward. he knows it's constantly a work in progress. He's always looking to find ways to improve his swing, which is absolutely true. You're never going to be perfect, and every successful baseball player always is looking for ways that they can improve. And Casas certainly has the means to be somebody who can be very successful if he maintains that mentality. So he still knows his swing is a work in progress, but if he can kick it up a notch just a little bit against lefties, imagine the numbers he's going to put up in 2024. So I'm super excited to see how Casas plays. Congratulations to him for an absolute monster home run, his first home run of the spring. And we're close to opening day, so hopefully he can keep that form going. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about a guy who made an appearance for the Red Sox on the mound against his former team. So that was interesting. So I'm going to be talking about that next. Amazon Fire TV is a great way for you to watch and stream anything you want at any time. You can get live sports, you can record things and come back to it. You can get all of your streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, any other streaming site that you use to generate and watch content. Amazon Fire TV will have that for you, and it's so easily accessible because it's all laid out right on the screen with that Amazon Fire TV. And the cool thing about it is that Amazon Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That does include all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels really lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. It really is well worth it, and you'll be able to have access to so many different things on TV that you normally would miss otherwise. Are you huge into sports betting? Is it something that you've always been interested in trying or something that you feel like you've mastered? Regardless of where your skill level is, FanDuel is the place for you. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tourney. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. If you don't bet on UConn, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I'm a huge Red Sox and UConn fan. So UConn is my other big team. So you should bet on them. They look really good again this year. But March Madness is truly a great time of year. So you can bet on all of it with FanDuel today. The Boston Red Sox, very early in the offseason, traded Alex Verdugo to the New York Yankees, and they did get 3 pitchers in return in that deal. And one of them was Greg Weser, who pitched for the Red Sox in Wednesday's 9-4 win against the New York Yankees, which, by the way, Nick Pivetta started that game for Boston, pitched 3 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. He also struck out 3. So not the best day for Pivetta, but certainly not the worst he could have done either. But the bats really were swinging. The Red Sox were putting pressure on the Yankees pitchers, and they were finding ways to get on base. And that's what the Red Sox lineup does. I mentioned this on the show the other day, so you everydayers will remember this, but the Red Sox offense is good and they make opposing pitchers work, and that's something that you don't find with every lineup. So the Red Sox lineup is full of talented guys who will constantly keep you on your toes if you're an opposing pitcher, really make you work. And that's exactly what they did on Wednesday. I saw some really competitive at-bats, and even when guys were recording an out, they were still generating tough at-bats, going deep into at-bats, and generating a lot of pitches on those at-bats. So that's definitely a good sign. But one pitcher who pitched on the day for Boston was Greg Weser. He only pitched 1 inning, giving up 0 runs, and he did strike out 1 hitter. So very small sample size from him. We didn't see a lot of work from any pitcher today, really. 3 innings for Pivetta, 2 for Joely Rodriguez, and then 1 for a handful of pitchers each after that. So the thing about Weer is he, in general, is a small sample size in MLB. In 2023, he only pitched in 17 games, 20 innings total, and pitched to a 405 earned run average. He did strike out 22 batters, so he does generate those swings and misses, which is good about him. But it's definitely something to look out for with him, is he needs to just have more time. I don't really anticipate him being utilized as an immediate impact piece for Boston. I anticipate that they'll probably start him in AAA. He'll work some more and kind of showcase what he can do there. And then if they feel like he's ready and there's an opportunity, then they can call him up to the majors later on in the season. But I don't really see that being an immediate situation where they call him up and he's starting the season on the major league roster. I mean, I could be wrong. They might decide there's more potential with this guy than we think, but he's definitely somebody who it's too hard to draw the conclusion now of how he'll be as a pitcher for Boston. It was just interesting because he's facing the team that drafted him. You know, it's got to be weird for him. And on those same lines, it was weird to see Alex Verdugo in a Yankees uniform. It just was not sitting well with me at all. But with Weer, maybe there's more to him. We just need to find that. His strikeout percentage in 2023 was 25.3% compared to a 9.2% walk rate. That all went along with that 405 earned run average. So he certainly feels confident in his ability to get people to swing and miss. And on his prospects report, his fastball, he got a 50 out of 50, slider 60 out of 60, changeup 50 out of 50, and command overall 40 out of 40, which I do agree with the command. He wasn't really wild in that 1 inning he pitched on Wednesday. He had a lot of control of the zone. So there are a lot of good aspects about him that the Red Sox could work with and continue to develop. My main thing is just how long can he sustain his success? Is he able to be consistent? Can he maintain solid arm strength for a good 3 or maybe 4 innings if he's being used out of the pen as a longer relief type of guy? Or is he somebody who really only can bring his best stuff if he pitches 1 inning, and the Red Sox should be using him as such, as just a 1 inning guy in relief? Similar to Chris Martin, he was only ever really used as a 1 inning type of guy. He might have been able to pitch deeper and further if the Red Sox pushed him to do that, but last year he really was just a 1 inning guy, primarily an 8th inning guy to bridge the way for Kenley Jansen. And who knows what Weer's opportunity is going to be, where the Red Sox are going to put him and where they see him as best fit. There's a lot they still need to figure out with this pitching staff, but what I definitely liked about his outing on Wednesday is he looked pretty comfortable out there, and he was able to maintain that command that you need if you're a pitcher. Now, when you are really looking at his performances and what he's done, his home runs per 9 innings that he gives up is just 1.35. So he doesn't give up a lot of hard contact as much, which is another promising thing. Walking about 3.60 guys per 9 innings and striking out 9.90 per 9. So he has the recipe to be able to be a good pitcher. It's just a matter of where he gets placed and for how long he can maintain that success for, because he hasn't really been in a situation yet where he's had to pitch a lot of innings consecutively. So that's something the Red Sox need to try to hone in on, is how much can we stretch him out? Because it'll be really important down the road when the Red Sox are in a pinch and they're in a tight game and they need to bring somebody in. Is he the type of guy that they can trust to bring in those situations and be able to pitch a good couple innings before the closer maybe comes in? Or if Jansen or Martin aren't available, is he a guy they can rely on? Because when the Red Sox were midway through the offseason and they were talking about moves they've made or lack thereof, they were kind of talking about the idea of having a bunch of guys who can pitch in high leverage situations. So Craig Breslow mentioned something about how he mainly wants to focus on getting a bunch of good pitchers in there that can pitch in relief and high leverage, as opposed to just having one set closer, an eighth inning guy, and then other bullpen guys who can fill in as needed everywhere else. He kind of wants his bullpen in general to be able to be filled of a bunch of guys who can pitch well in relief and in high leverage situations, so that you can throw any of those guys in there in a circumstance when needed. Now, that's obviously a lot easier said than done. I'm sure Wiesert is somebody who the Red Sox can slot in there when they need him to be slotted in, and hopefully that means being able to trust him in situations like that, but it's simply too soon to tell if he's a pitcher that can be relied upon in those high leverage situations. So I'm interested in seeing how he progresses through his Red Sox tenure now. Is he somebody who can help the Red Sox out when they need it in 2024? Next, we're 14 days away from opening day, and you might already know the best player to wear number 14 in Boston, but I'm going to be talking about it next. PrizePicks is the best place for you to play daily fantasy sports. PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play. It's literally just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks even offers injury insurance so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player projection won't count against you and the rest of your entry stays live. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 if you use code LOCKEDONMLB. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's so simple and you can win so much money, so there's no reason why you shouldn't head to PrizePicks today. Also, as you know, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. But baseball fans, mark your calendars for March 20th at 7 p.m. EST for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today. On March 20th at 7 p.m. EST, be the first to get local insight from the MLB local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find it on March 20th at 7 p.m. EST on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's a good time. I promise you won't want to miss it. Well, we are 14 days away from opening day. That's so close. It's actually unbelievable close. I'm so excited. I seriously can't wait. And with opening day comes the Red Sox, and with the Red Sox comes a lot of history. And there are many historic players to put on a Boston Red Sox uniform, but one in particular who wore number 14 and is just an absolute legend is Jim Rice. Hall of Fame baseball player, had power to all fields in the ballpark, but also could hit for average effectively. There truly was a time in the late 70s when he was the most feared hitter in the American League. And similar to the player we talked about on yesterday's show in Dustin Pedroia, Jim Rice played his entire 16-year MLB career for the Boston Red Sox and was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2009. Again, it's rare now these days to see a player spend their entire career somewhere, so I always love players who do, and Jim Rice was just such a phenomenal player. 8-time AL All-Star and was named the AL's most valuable player in 1978 after becoming the first major league player in 19 years to hit for 400 total bases. He went on to become the 9th player to lead the majors in total bases in consecutive seasons. He joined Ty Cobb as one of 2 players to lead the AL in total bases 3 years in a row. He batted above 300 7 times, collected 100 plus RBIs in 8 times, had 200 hits 4 times, and 20 plus home runs 11 times. He also led the league in home runs 3 times, RBIs and slugging percentage twice each, and averaged more than 117 hits for every 100 regular season MLB games he had played in during his career. Between 1975 and 1986, Rice led all major league players in hits, RBIs, and total bases, as well as all AL players in home runs and runs scored. I mean, there's so much you can say about this guy and his career. An 8-time All-Star from 1977 to 80 and 1983 to 86. AL MVP in 1978. 2-time Silver Slugger in 1983 and 1984. 3-time AL home run leader in 1977, 78, and 1983. 2-time American League RBI leader in 1978 and 83. Boston Red Sox number 14 retired, and Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. I mean, it's actually crazy to me how many accolades this guy has in his career. From 1975 through 1980, he was part of one of the sport's great outfields along with Fred Lynn and Dwight Evans, who was actually his teammate for his whole career. Rice continued the tradition of his predecessors, Ted Williams and Carl Yastrzemski, as a power-hitting left fielder who ended his career with a .502 slugging percentage and then ranked 10th in AL history with 382 home runs. His career marks in homers, hits, which was 2,452, RBIs with 1,451, and total bases with 4,129 remain Red Sox records for a right-handed hitter, with Evans eventually surpassing his Boston records for career runs scored, at-bats, and extra base hits by a right-handed hitter. When Rice retired, his 1,503 career games in left field ranked 7th in AL history. I mean, there's so much to really say about this guy. He was an unbelievable player, finished his career with a .298 batting average, 1,249 runs scored, and 58 stolen bases to go with a career on base percentage of .352, slugging percentage of .502, and OPS of .854. I mean, these numbers never get old. He was truly such a special player, and it was so fun watching him play. I mean, he just has so many accolades throughout his career. And what's cool about him is that he did so much in his retirement. In 1990, he agreed to play with the St. Petersburg Pelicans of the Senior Professional Baseball Association, which was very short-lived, not around anymore. Afterwards, he served as a batting coach and hitting instructor with the Red Sox organization. And while he was the Red Sox hitting coach, the team led the league in hitting in 1997, and players won 2 batting titles. He was the hitting coach for the AL in the 1997 and 1999 MLB All-Star Games, both under Yankees manager Joe Torre. Since 2003, he's been employed as a commentator for NESN, contributing to Red Sox pre- and post-game shows, and also made a cameo appearance in the NESN movie Wait Till This Year and in the film Fever Pitch. So not only was he a phenomenal baseball player, but also had a huge acting career as well. Just a star on screen, truly. The former slugger has been known to pass his wisdom on to the current Sox players and stars from time to time. He was elected to the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame when it first opened in 1995 and is the 40th member of Ted Williams Museum and Hitters Hall of Fame, having been inducted along with a couple other players in 2001. On November 29, 2008, the Boston chapter of the Baseball Writers Association of America announced that Rice would be the recipient of the Emil Fuchs Award for long and meritorious service to baseball. During his Hall of Fame acceptance speech, Rice actually revealed that he's a devoted fan of The Young and the Restless, noting that he was watching the show when he was informed of his acceptance. He was just a very personable guy, shared a lot of things about himself outside of baseball, so it was cool to have felt like you were connected to him in a way. And players now, today, I always look for things like that. If they share a fun fact about themselves or something that fans can connect to outside of the baseball aspect of it. It's always so cool to see players do that. And it's just awesome. Somebody like Jim Rice coming in and just being truly a fantastic, unbelievable baseball player and just truly will forever be associated with the Boston Red Sox. It's awesome. Great player, great baseball person, just great all around guy. With 14 days until opening day, that is for Jim Rice, number 14 day. We're getting closer, people, and the Red Sox don't seem to have any desires to want to make moves to improve the roster at this point in the offseason, but maybe they still will. Don't give up hope yet. As always, like I say, go Red Sox, keep the faith, and I will catch you on the flip side.